Hello everyone, this is Ange. Welcome to another episode of the Visual Novel Monthly Recap, this time talking about news that happened in May 2025. The remake of Dokusei Bangin' Summer, originally released on Steam by Shirobune, has now received a Nintendo Switch and PS4 port called the Home Edition. I imagine this version completely removes the 18 plus content to make it suitable for consoles. However, I hope the rest of the content remains intact. I could not find specific bullet points detailing what, if anything, was removed besides H scenes. Due to YouTube rules, I'll need to apply some censoring, but Denpasoft, also known as the 18 plus branch of sca-ji Project, has released physical merchandise featuring characters from Purplesoft. More specifically, they have acrylic stands of characters like Aoi and Akane from Kunado Chronicles, as well as a non-explicit acrylic stand of the main heroines from Amatsutsumi. But just a heads up, the Amatsutsumi stand contains a major spoiler. The results of Keys' character popularity poll, which ran in February 2025, was released on the Nico Nico livestream. Among the top 50 most voted key characters, what's probably the most notable is that the top 3 characters from the 2019 poll remain exactly the same in order, with Kyosuke from Little Busters once again taking the top spot. Otherwise, it's pretty interesting to see which characters from more recent titles like Reflection Blue, Stella of the End, Prima Dolls, and The Day I Became a God stack up. Death End Request Code Z has been released, though it's only available for the PS4 and PS5, with a Switch version coming later. This is a sequel to Death End Request 2, and presumably, just like the previous 2 games, it's a mix of turn-based RPG with a dark setting and a mystery story. I'm guessing it has a lot of text, which is likely how it ended up on VNDB like the rest of the series. Seven Scarlet is an otome game by Otomate that originally released in English on the PlayStation Vita in 2018 and on Steam in 2019. As is typical for visual novels developed by that company, they're focusing on releasing on the latest handheld as they just ported the game to the Nintendo Switch. A few months ago, a remake of the first Da Capo by Circus Retune was announced. As of this month, we have confirmation that it will be released on Steam and Nintendo Switch, and, most importantly, it will receive an English translation alongside Chinese. If you're looking for a modernized version of the original Da Capo visual novel, one of the first moe released in Japan all the way back in 2002, look forward to reading it by the end of October 2025. Are you into NTR? More specifically, the kind where you potentially share or temporarily exchange wives? Shirobune has announced 2 visual novels by Anim, with the localized titles Double Date Dilemma and My Wife's Voice Through the Wall. If you're familiar with NTR or cheating storylines, you could probably expect more of the same here. Novectical is celebrating the fact that the visual novel The House on Fata Morgana has sold over 300,000 copies worldwide, with the announcement that they are making a Fumo-like plushie of the title character Morgana. Just keep in mind that this is only going to be produced and sold in Japan for now, and the Fanbox link recommends using a forwarding service like Tenso if you want to get it outside of Japan. Bad Spot has released a font mod for the English version of 100-line Last Defense Academy. If you thought the font was ill-fitting in-game or something, this mod exists if you want to use it. Laplacian has announced 4 new visual novels with varying lengths and writers. Kyoko no Kenban, written by Ono Wasabi, the writer for all previous Laplacian titles like Newton in the Apple Tree and Cyanotype Daydream, is a 5-hour adaptation of a light novel about a love triangle involving a girl who claims to know the future. It's set for release in summer 2025 on Steam and Switch with Japanese, English, and Chinese text. Kugayama Shiori no Shinizami Techo, written by Kazuki Fumi, who has previously written Kimagure Temptation, 99, and Criminal Border, is a 5-hour-ish visual novel slated for 2026. Monochrome Serenade, written by Nagatsuki Tape, the author of the popular ReZero light novel and anime, is a 10-hour-ish visual novel with likely dramatic or fantastical themes, also set for 2026. Isomerica, planned by Ono Wasabi, is a 20-plus hour epic visual novel in development since Cyanotype Daydream, with the release still TBD. Laplacian's past controversy with Cyanotype Daydream's non-18 plus censored Western release has some uncertainty about English translations for the latter 3 titles, though as stated earlier, Kyoku no Kenban alone is so far confirmed to be the only one getting an English translation. Kagami Games, one of the newest visual novel translation-focused publishing companies, has released their first translation of Puchika First Cut. This is an interesting release as it's by the same writer and artist as Meike no Lupercalia, a depressing Utsuge visual novel themed around real-life theater acting. While I personally never finished Lupercalia, I was intrigued by Puchika based on its premise. It has a fantasy setting based on the Middle Ages, focused on actual Christian witch hunts, how they affect people, and the tragedies that could unfold because of them. Keep in mind that this is an episodic title lasting around 4 hours, and even in Japan, the release date for the second part is still unknown. Also, there are 2 Steam links for Puchika First Cut, one with only Japanese text. Make sure to buy them from the Steam link with the publisher Kagami Games for the version with English text. A small handful of new visual novels were announced at the Anime Central convention. Starting with Sekai Project, we have Welcome to Cafe Lumiere by Cuteforia, a moege nukige that focuses on dragon girls. Next is a standalone fandisc, Nekonin X Heart Spin Love Plus. It includes 3 mini episodes focusing on the series' heroines Toka, Nanako, and Chika. MangaGamer also had a few announcements. The first is CLOCKUP's 3rd installment of the Healthy Hentai series, How I Met My Healthy Hentai Neighbors. It's a nukige where the protagonist lives next to a degenerate family consisting of a single mother and her 4 daughters who become interested in him after discovering he's a virgin. Sounds like a classic nukige plot, alright. MangaGamer also announced a USB physical release of Moonstone Chase's Welcome to a Sexy Open World, and they announced a plushie for Reset from the Rain series that will go on sale sometime soon. Another unfortunate 18+ related takedown, or at least temporarily, as Surugaya, a store noted to have NSFW 18+ content including apparently Japanese visual novels and even merch like eroge body pills, had their pages wiped. This is assumedly due to the consistent payment processor takedowns. It's possible that the 18+ pages could come back, but who knows if Westerners will even have access to these pages in the future. Dramatic Crate has released The Town of Nie Iro Musubi, a fandisc for the eerie, otherworldly BL fantasy visual novel, The Town of Nie. This fandisc weaves together continuations of the original game's good and bad endings, along with newly written side character backstories. You can get it on Steam and Switch. Nilo Inc. and Tokyo Games have partnered and announced a new title, Shuten Order. Similar to the company's last game, 100 Line Last Defense Academy, it's going to be partially directed by Kodaka, the creator of the Danganronpa series, as well as featuring music composed by Masafumi Takada of the Danganronpa series. The main difference compared to 100 Line is that instead of having Uchikoshi, known for Zero Escape, the other co-writer of Shuten Order will be Takumi Nakazawa, who is known for visual novels like Remember 11, I.O., and Root Double. If you are a fan of those titles over things like Ever 17 and Zero Escape, you may be interested in this title as the premise appears to be 168 remaining until the end of the world. Humanity is approaching its end with a sudden dismemberment murder of the leader of a religious nation, where there's 5 adventure games combined into one centered around a suspenseful story full of mystery and intrigue. This sounds a lot like the route structure of I.O., another mystery title by Nakazawa. Desperate Drops was an otome first released in March on the Switch and just got a Steam port this month. The Switch version was published by Axis Games while the Steam version was by D3. As a reminder what the plot is, it's set in 2028 Europe. It follows Mika, a student wrongfully arrested for murder in Rome. After a police vehicle accident frees her and 6 other fugitives, they evade police and mysterious attackers targeting Mika's unique power. The group seeks freedom while uncovering the truth behind the murder, the attacker's identity, and Mika's power. Frontwing has released the all-ages visual novel Perennial Dust Kinsenka. This is notable as it's a visual novel written by Yukito Urushibara, who is well known for writing highly rated, deeply emotional, incredibly complex stories under the developer Favorite, such as Hirotoridori no Sekai and Hikari and Sakura Moyu. This visual novel, I believe, is kinetic. The story and setting revolve around a group of exorcists in training in a world where the living and dead coexist, battling horrific maladies. The narrative centers on Tachibana Sai, a boy numb to pain who lives to protect his sister, and his transformative encounter with Matsuri, which awakens intense emotions. If Kinsenka is anything like previous Yukito stories, hopefully expect some powerful emotional moments and deep character development with some potential convoluted setting twists. MangaGamer has released Third Eyes' Pillagers of Galore by the same developer who made Sorcery Jokers. It is set in a future over a century from now, everyone possessing unique abilities called Dunamis. Strange incidents arise as individuals with abilities distinct from Dunamis labeled errors emerge, sparking fear and treated as a disease under the corpse's jurisdiction. Sadly, unlike Sorcery Jokers, Galore got banned on Steam, so you can only get it on the MangaGamer store. Vivid X and Mirai Works have released what I assume to be a Yuri Girls Love moege called Clover Reset, described as a youthful story of girls wavering between friendship and love. There are 2 notable things about this. First, there's a demo with English text available on Steam. Second, there are character animations. However, one thing that might be a little disorienting is the fact that when the characters are just standing still, they look like their bodies are moving back and forth in unison, as if a strong wind is slowly blowing them at the same time. If that doesn't bother you, this demo, from what I experienced, seems to offer a comfy Yuri time. Kagura Games has released a remastered version of one of Alisoft's titles, Yoruga Kuru, Square of the Moon. Similar to other Alisoft titles, this is a visual novel with gameplay elements, this time set in an urban fantasy world with dungeon crawling elements. The original Yoruga Kuru was released in the early 2000s in Japan, so there might be some early engine quirks despite the remaster using a newer version. However, if you don't mind that and enjoy previous Alisoft titles like Rance and Evenical, you'll likely enjoy this. Nekonyan originally delayed Happiness Sakura Celebration from several months ago, but they finally released it. This game was developed by Windmill Oasis and was one of the titles initially slated for translation by Soul Press before they closed down. Based on the Steam description and VNDB tags, Happiness appears to be a moege set in a magic-based school with a focus on the theme of cherry blossoms. It also seems to have a true ending that ties a bunch of themes and mysteries together. Like most Nekonyan titles, it's available on Steam as well as other DRM free stores like MangaGamer, Jast, and Denpasoft. A Japanese group called Moe Game Awards recently ran 2 contests. The first was to determine the best visual novels by category that were released in 2024 in Japan specifically. Some notable winners include the grand award being Simon Seishiru's Secret Lesson, which I believe is based on an H-doujin where the main protagonist uses the hypnotism hentai trope on various girls, and the best heroine being Yato Kukuru from Select Oblige by MangaGamer. They had a wide range of other subcategories like best graphics, sound, and pure love stories. The other contest was for the best visual novel awards of all time. Some notable winners there include Clannad being considered the best visual novel, with Nukatashi 2 being runner-up. The best series was a tie between Grisaya and Da Capo, and the best heroine of all time was Nagisa from Clannad. For those who've been looking forward to the translation of one of the highest rated visual novels by sca-ji of Tsubihime fame, sadly, the ongoing fan translation effort of Sakura no Uta has been taken down by request from the original developers. Optimistically, this could mean that there's an ongoing official translation secretly, but pessimistically, this means that you'll have to learn Japanese to read this extremely highly rated title now, or maybe Spanish, since the Spanish translation of Sakura is apparently good. And that wraps things up for May 2025. As always, if you have any feedback, positive or negative, feel free to leave a comment below or one of my social medias. And also, as always, a huge thank you to the local weeb who continues to do monthly editing for my YouTube videos, as well as my recurring monthly paying YouTube memberships and on Kohi. Much appreciated to all of you.